All right, here we are back to it now. Joining me now, the person that really runs this entire operation and pats me on the head and tells me I'm a good boy. It's Ivey. Ivey, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
You do sometimes pat me on the head, tell me I'm a good boy. Not often. A nice
Well, you
Christmas
did
song.
get cold this year in your stocking, so I think that you were overall a good boy.
All right, so one of the things we talk about a lot at home and on this program, health, general health, well-being, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, things like that, right? Fair?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, so I want to play a sound bite for you. I didn't tell Anthony this. Bite 6, Anthony, if you would, please. If you're trying to eat better, pay attention because they've changed the name of aspartame. Listen.
Heads up, my friends, these big food companies are getting slicker and slicker. They have changed the name of aspartame in food ingredients to amino sweet. So if you're like me and want to stay away from artificial sweeteners and artificial things in your food, look for that amino sweet in the labeling. Another little helpful hint, it's also manufactured by the same people that manufacture glyphosate, DDT, saccharin, also things I try to stay away from. Stay awake out there.
Amino sweet, not aspartame, amino sweet is now the ingredient. You know, these folks will just shuffle it around and say, oh, don't look at this, don't look at that, don't look at this. Weird, isn't it?
It is. Actually, I don't think it's weird at all. I don't know how many label readers we have out there in terms of groceries. I'm hoping it's more than
Hopefully
it
it's
used
a
to be,
lot.
but
Yeah.
how is that?
I said, hopefully it's a lot of label readers.
Yeah. I hope so too, but it's really, for me, actually, I have a very high sensitivity to aspartame. So even if chewing gum with aspartame, I get nauseous. So I just think that it's really super important that we have, and I'm really grateful actually for RFK to come in. So we have transparency in our food products so that we know what's in our food. And even maybe this sort of substance gets banned. I'm not sure what his plans are, but it is really, really, really important that you are reading your labels, understanding what you should and shouldn't put in your body. And there are definitely lots of substances that are in highly processed foods that you should never put in your body. So I hope that going into the new year, everyone is a little bit more health conscious about the substances that they're putting in their body, especially when you think about vaccinations and things like that. That's a hotly debated thing. So it's no different than that. You
No,
are what you
I agree. You know, you do have this sensitivity to, well, not aspartame anymore. Apparently, it's amino sweet, even in chewing gum. If you would chew it, you would pick up a package of gum and go, that was not regular gum. And you'd look at it and go, see, I knew I didn't feel right. So people have these sensitivities, and sometimes I don't think they're taken seriously. People say, I don't feel good. I go back to my grandmother. I've told you this story, and I've told this story here, but I want to repeat it. Back in the 80s, in the 1980s, my grandmother, who lived to be in her 90s, said that she couldn't eat processed bleached white flour. She just called it bleached flour. Couldn't eat that bleached flour because it made her bloat. She didn't feel well. This is back in the 90s, and this is stuff that she's baking herself with a bag of flour. She's not buying bread at the store. She was baking her own bread and doing her own stuff, and it made her feel unwell. So, I mean, it's not like it's a surprise, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not a new thing. And our farming practices have gone astray in terms of the way that Europeans do, I believe what is the term of the substance that is sprayed on all wheat? Do you recall, Steve? Well, I know that it's
Glyphosate? You mean glyphosate? Or not that? That's what kills weed. That's weed killer.
right, but that is actually what they spray so that then you have the only thing that comes out of the ground is the wheat.
Right.
And then also they enrich all of your wheat products and rice products and things
That's
like that with folic acid. So a lot of people have a sensitivity to that.
Well, you're exactly right. What they've done is at these universities, they've developed herbicide-resistant wheat, rice, corn, whatever. So they can spray Roundup on a field, cover the whole field in Roundup, glyphosate. And then the only thing that survives is the corn or the wheat or the rice because they've been bred and genetically modified in order to survive that. You're exactly right. And then, so what are we eating exactly?
Well, you're eating Some people say that all of those pesticides then are in your food and then you're digesting that, which unless you're eating an organic based diet, now I have my mixed feelings about organic based diet, but specifically wheat, a lot of people have issues with that. Now, if you go to Europe and you eat bread in France, or you eat noodles in Italy, you're not going, generally you don't feel bloated, you don't feel unwell. And that is because of the lack of substances uh, in their farming practices, and that definitely has to be something that is addressed here in the United States.
Well,
And I think
here's the thing.
RFK Jr. will address.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing. Look, whether it's Michigan State University, The Ohio State, Florida State, all the land-grant colleges in this country, Texas A&M, they developed better crops over the years, right? To develop crops that would survive drought or would survive attacks from aphids or whatever it might be. But in this particular case, you wonder if they've gone too far. You can't, I don't think you can get, and you might remember the story from a couple of years ago, Chipotle tried to say everything that they're going to have was going to be organic, non-GMO. Well, they couldn't find non-GMO because I don't know if you can find a cornfield in America that has not been modified in some fashion because it's been done for a century, right? And so corn, it pollinates, the wind blows, it pollinates. I don't know if there's a non-GMO corn stalk left in the world, basically, unless it's some sort of, offshoot non-mainstream corn. But regular corn that you see driving along the road in Michigan or Iowa or Illinois, it's all genetically modified, every bit of it.
Unless you're growing it yourself, and I don't exactly know. I haven't done a deep dive into the GMO versus non-GMO. Now, on your talking about reading labels, it will actually say on your packaging if it is non-GMO, like certified non-GMO, and then you can purchase that product, and it's less likely to upset your stomach, especially if you're talking about wheat or corn or something like that. But this actually reminds me of a story. Did you see this guy? He's a TikTok prankster, and he's in Walmart, and he goes and he gets an insect killer, and he's spraying it on.
He got a can of Raid.
Yeah, he got a can of Raid, and he's spraying it on produce and on, I think it was roasted chicken, and he's posting this on his TikTok channel like, hey, look at me, isn't this so funny? Like, dude, you're poisoning people. Just a reminder, make sure you always wash your produce before you consume it.
But I don't wash my roast chicken. I don't put the roast chicken under tap water.
You can't wash the roast chicken, but unbelievable in terms of how
I think you told me. We were talking about this a couple days ago because this video was circulating. I think he got arrested is what you told me. Yes,
he was arrested. And I actually have to look in and see what his charges are, but unbelievable.
It's not funny, a guy, there ought to be a place in the penal code where you just, heading 3, ass beating. You just take him out, you just beat the hell out of him. Just beat the hell out of him and say, you idiot, don't ever do that again, and then you turn him loose with a bloody nose. I'm just saying, hold your thought right there, because I think that some people might agree with that. Mr. Smith, you've been charged with X, Y, and Z. Your sentence will be a good ass beating out back in 15 minutes. All right. We'll be back right after the break here on the Steve Gruber Show. Tell me what you think at stevegruber.com. I'll be right back. All right, so, social media is quite something. I'm just going to do this story real quickly. Ivey's still with me, of course. Ivey, glad that you're sticking around for a double dose today. Look, I got this video. I just sent it to Ivey and Anthony. I don't have time to put it up for the folks on stream. He just couldn't turn it. But it shows what appear to be dead chickens, and when they push on them, flames come out of their mouth in a village in India, Sakalaspur.
Oh, come on, Steve. Is this AI generated?
I don't know, but it's on.
We have fire-breathing chickens.
Hold on. No, there's a dead chicken. The guy pushed on. Maybe. But MSN picked up the story. So MSNBC picked up the story and said, they don't know if it's authentic or not. They couldn't verify the authenticity, but they're not saying it's fake. They're not sure. They've got all these chickens that they claimed all these chickens died when you push them, smoke comes out of their nose, and then a burst of fire, which I can see in the video here. I don't know what to make of it. All right. Enough of that. You can decide for yourself whether fire-breathing chickens are real. Thank you, Ivey, for that. Now, best Christmas gifts. In our house, I'm going to give the award to this company, Smithy. Smithy. They make these iron and steel pans. You know, and we cook, we love, you know, like Lodge. We've used Lodge for years. These are superior. I got to be honest. Lodge makes great stuff, but this stuff, Smithy, made in Charleston, South Carolina. Whoa, are these cool pans or what? You love them, don't you?
They are iron forged, hammered, made in South Carolina. Incredible pans. I would just shout out to them. If you've never heard of them, go check them out. Lifetime pan. They are on the expensive side, but you're only going to have to ever buy them once.
One time.
And I'm probably going to buy their entire set and get rid of everything else.
There goes the savings account. Yeah, they're not inexpensive, but man, are they great. I mean, just fabulous. We bought a couple for gifts too, going, we didn't know. It's one of these things that popped up online and they had this really cool goldish hue to them, right? And I'm like, well, that's a cool looking, but let's buy one. Holy cow, they're kind of expensive. All right, let's buy. Best pan ever. Ever. I mean, first of all, it's indestructible because I can take a metal spatula to it and not get yelled at. Hey, you scratched my pan. I've been hearing that since I was a kid. My mother, oh my gosh, Teflon, you can't use that. Well, then why do you have it in the drawer? If I can't use this spatula, why is it in the drawer for me to use? And then I get swatted for being mouthy and whatever. From my mother and all the way to Ivey. No, I'm kidding. Anyhow, I thought that was the best gift. You know, I did. I thought that was just, and we got that for ourselves, but I thought that was fabulous. What did you think that you saw out there, cool stuff?
Well, I mean, my most favorite gift are my wading boots that you got me, which, you know, I think that the best gift is yet to be seen. I don't want to spoil it because I don't know who's watching or listening, but it was the gift that we got our son. I will report back on that, but he hasn't received
I'll give you that.
yet. So, but you know what's interesting? I just saw a poll that was done before Christmas.
All right.
And a lot of American Christmas aren't as popular as they used to be. And a lot of people are saying, I would rather do something else, swap out a Christmas tradition for another one. And the number one tradition that people would like to swap out is sending Christmas cards. I've personally never been very good at this. It gets close to the time and I'm like, oh man, yet again, another year that I'm not going to be sending Christmas cards. Number two is ugly Christmas sweater parties, which I kind of actually enjoy. It's just a time to be silly and dress up and see who has the ugliest sweater.
Where did that ever come from? Where did that old ugly sweater thing ever come from? I mean, you guys, you being you and the children, have dressed me like an idiot a few times on Christmas. Hey, wear this. And I know it's fun. And then they all take pictures of me and point and laugh and carry on. Whatever. But where did the ugly sweater thing come from, do you think? Why is that a thing?
I don't know, actually. I'd have to look it up, but I think it's fun. You know, make your own, dress it up, find the ugliest one, find the one that lights up. I don't know. I just think it's silly and a time to just let loose and not care about what you look like or what you're wearing.
Yeah.
But the third one is actually gift giving. People are kind of over it. Gift giving. I think a lot of people struggle with this time of year. They're stressed about.
Stressful. I mean, I did the best I've ever done this year because I got wading boots for her waders. She needed new boots, and so I did great there. A hat, always a winner with Ivy. And I got another pan for the kitchen, which is it's a fabulous brand too.
Straub.
Yeah, Straub. It's made where? In France, maybe?
It's French.
Yeah, wherever it's from. And those are great pans. But these things made in Charleston just blew that away. So for me, it's always stressful. Well, what do I get? Do I want that? And then the clock's winding down. You only got 2 days. You only got 1 day. It's stressful. It's hard on dudes. Guys have a hard time with this more than women, I think.
I think it's hard on a lot of people, actually, because you're stressed about, do I have enough money? Am I going to get the right gifts?
Right.
Am I going to get enough gifts? You know, even can I buy gifts? Because it's been a very hard year with inflation and everything else.
You got 2 kids. Okay, I spent $100 on this kid and only $50 on this kid. Am I being fair? You know, everything's a stressor. Everything's, you know, bah, humbug.
And listen, you know, I would just say that all I want for Christmas is to get the $1 billion lottery ticket.
I love that.
So I'm thinking I could do a lot of good and helping people who, you know, had a hard time for Christmas.
And I guarantee you win $1 billion in the lottery, you'll have all sorts of friends you never knew you had. Yeah, you'll have all sorts of friends show up. I didn't even know we were friends. What's your name again? Yeah, exactly. $1 billion. Is it like 1.2 billion or something like that?
Yeah, the last drawing nobody won, and so now it's 1.2 billion. Wow. I mean, of course, is when it's the highest, the most amount of people play, so it's
So it
reducing
goes
your
up
odds.
fast.
You
I
never
think
know. Somebody has to win.
yeah, we should buy a ticket. Yeah, and if you win and you're watching, I've got a media company for sale. I'll make you the star of the show every day for the rest
And
of your
listen,
life.
and if you're looking for a new career, Oscar
Yeah.
Mayer's Wienermobile is hiring new drivers.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a new career
I've got a
path,
couple people that come to mind for that
2025.
position. I got some. I'll be submitting some names for that position. Ivy, love you. Thank you as always.
Thank you, Steve.
There you go. Final thoughts on this day after Christmas. After this break.